guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. Here on my channel, I bring you Disney content and more. With the releasing of Cruella, I sat here and thought about what villains need to have their own origin story / movie. And I chose two so far because I'm working on the others, but the first two that I need to happen, and this one needs to be next, is Yzma. I think she's so underrated. I think she doesn't get the props that she deserves, but I need her origin story to be the next one that is in development, pre-production, whatever you want to call it. Disney, get on this. So what my thinking for her origin story is to take some elements from Kingdom of the Sun. Kingdom of the Sun was originally supposed to be what the Emperor's New Groove is. Due to some problems, it didn't happen, but in Kingdom of the Sun, Yzma was a little bit more vain rather than power hungry. So we take some elements of that. So I'm thinking that Yzma learned how to make potions from like a family member, either her father, her mother, maybe both. And she uses that to her advantage. Like I said, in the Kingdom of the Sun, she's supposed to be vain. So her beauty fuels her passion for potions. She's making a youth formula or a youth potion or beauty potion that she's selling to people that really aren't making them beautiful, because if she's vain, she's probably gonna only want to be the most, beautiful woman out there. So like I said, using potions to her advantage, she's making this potion, she's selling it to people are buying it, business is booming. They see how beautiful she is, they think, it works for her, it's gonna work for them. As she, succeeds with this for maybe like a couple of years, people start to notice the decrease in her appearance. The sun, she's saying that the sun is making her wrinkled and thin, which causes her business to unfortunately crash and burn, as we can say. With this, she now works for Cusco. I think this is like a nice transition into Kingdom of the Sun into what the actual Emperor's New Groove is. So she starts to work for Cusco, which is not only a disappointment to her, it's probably a disappointment to her parents, who maybe disown her or don't even want to talk to her anymore because she's now seen as the help instead of this booming, beautiful businesswoman. As she's working for Cusco, she's being treated horribly by him, which then fuels her power. It goes from vain into her wanting to become the Empress and taking him out. I think in her origin story, we can see how she teams up with Kronk, who I'm gonna say Kronk is like Cusco's chef. We can see how they team up and how she persuades him to join her side. And that's when she starts back with her potion making, and she starts testing it out on certain, people in the kingdom, and then she ultimately builds up to making the potion that's gonna take Cusco out. And then we see, the whole dinner scene, Kronk and his spinach puffs, and how her potion turns him into a llama instead of killing him. So I think that's like a good basis. It brings in some of the original elements of Kingdom of the Sun. It brings in the elements that we're familiar with from the Emperor's New Groove. And boom, her origin story. Like I said, it's just a rough draft. This is just what I'm thinking, but I think it would be a good basis. Of course, Disney can tweak it, add fillers, but if you decide to use my idea, Disney, please, give me the credit. As far as playing Yzma, I've got a couple of actresses that came into mind. First one that popped into my mind was Vanessa Williams. She's a beautiful woman, but I think she could also bring justice to the role. Sarah Paulson, I think she would do great. Meryl Streep, I could be wrong, but I just think she could do it. And Lynn Whitfield. Those were like the four women that came to my mind on playing Yzma. As far as Kronk, sounds very obvious, but The Rock, just because he's the only muscle-bound man I'm really familiar with who's an actor. And as far as Cusco, I think Cleo Thomas, who played Zero in Holes, would do a really, really good job. I know he's been battened to play Jafar, which absolutely, I think he would kill and knock out that role, but I can also see him playing Cusco. So the next one is Dr. Facilier, the Shadow Man from The Princess and the Frog. And what I came up with is he grew up poor. He didn't come from a great upbringing. And growing up poor, he saw how the rich citizens of New Orleans treated those of a lower status. And that angered him. And that's that is his push and his motivation and his fuel for wanting to become the most powerful man in New Orleans and to swindle and take advantage of the rich. We see him join a group of misfits that he makes an alliance with, and they teach him black magic. And then from there, we see him practicing the black magic. We see him getting into voodoo and tarot readings and using that to his advantage to swindle the rich. They pay a good amount of money to hear a good fortune, which he probably really doesn't, it's probably not good fortune, or he's probably not that good at his job, but he uses it. He's a con artist, he's a businessman, and he can talk the talk that makes you believe it. So I think that premises would be really good, and it would lead up to him just becoming this really shady businessman. Like, word gets around of who he really is, so business kind of starts to dwindle. He doesn't get as much readings, but then, you know, tourists start coming in. He takes advantage of the tourist people spending their money wanting to hear good fortune, whether it's a love or what their life is going to be. As he's building up and taking all this money, he owes some debt to his friends on the other side, and they're getting really tired of it, and they want what is promised to them. So he hears that Prince Naveen is coming in to New Orleans. He comes up with this elaborate plan to take advantage of him and become prince and become whatever powerful man he thinks he's going to be. We all saw how the movie goes. We saw it didn't work, and he ends up being taken out by the friends on the other side. But I think that somewhere along those lines would be a great basis for his origin story. We get to see him as a child not having much. We get to see how him being treated so poorly by the rich fueled his anger. And I think that would be good. As far as playing Dr. Facilier / Shadow Man, his voice actor Keith Davis did an amazing job. I think he would do really, really well. On ABC's Once Upon a Time, he was played by Daniel Francis, another great actor. Anthony Mackie somehow popped into my mind. I can kind of see him playing it, so I'm not opposed to seeing him on screen playing Dr. Facilier. As far as Princess Tiana making like an appearance in there, I've seen people on the internet, especially Twitter, saying that Ryan Destiny, who absolutely, she's a gorgeous girl, I can see her playing Princess Tiana, and they've also said Rome Flynn from How to Get Away with Murder. I can see him playing that. I can see him playing Prince Naveen as well. I'm not sure about Charlotte. I'm not sure about, you know, Big Daddy and her mother and Tiana's mother and whatnot, but so far as Dr. Facilier, Keith David, Daniel Francis, or Anthony Mackie, and then Prince Naveen, Rome Flynn, maybe a couple other people. I just can't think of their names right now, and then Ryan Destiny for Princess Tiana. But that's it that I have so far. I'm still working on like Ursula. I know there's the theory going around that she's King Triton's sister, so that one's going to take a little bit more time for me to think about. And I want to do some research on it. I did a lot of research on both of these characters, which helped me come up with a synopsis. But I definitely need to see Yzma. Yzma needs to be next because she's so underrated, and followed by Dr. Facilier. Then we can go with, you know, Maleficent. I know they have the live action ones, but like, I don't know. Let's tweak it a little bit. And also, you know, Ursula and the rest of the Disney villains that exist. I hope you enjoyed my video. Leave in the comments below who you think you would like to see play either Yzma or anyone from Dr. Facilier's origin story. And what origin story do you want to see from a villain? I would like to know. So leave it in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you real soon. Have a magical day.